Hi, my name is Thomas Gorr and I love to welcome you to my session Turning the Best BI Tool to a UI Platform with the Power of its Engine and Capabilities. In this session, I will start with a short introduction introducing myself and my company, and then I will directly talk about today's topic, why Qlik is so cool, and how you can make it even cooler and smarter either with third-party tools or on your own. Because I want to show you how you can turn the best BI tool into an UI platform. As I said, my name is Thomas Gorr. I'm working as the product manager of Write at Inform. I have more than 6 years of Qlik experience, mostly in consulting, but my expertise is in developing extensions and Node.js services for especially custom connectors against Qlik or write-back solutions. If you want to ping me right after the session, do not hesitate to send me a mail or follow me at Twitter at @tgor or at writebyinform. Just to have a few words about our company, Inform is a software developer company and operates worldwide with their solutions. We are specialized in digital decision making, especially in the areas of operations research, BI and AI for corporate management. And our headquarters is in Aachen, Germany, which is near to Cologne or Düsseldorf, so near to the Belgium border. But we also have offices in Atlanta, USA and Sydney, Australia, serving more than 1,000 clients worldwide with more than 800 employees from 30 nations. We are specialized in a couple of industries like aviation, production, bank and insurance companies to have a risk and fraud detection. So with our algorithms and our own developed software, we are optimizing complex business decisions in real time. But let's talk about today's topic, the best BI tool, the Beast, and its unique capabilities. So why is Qlik so cool? It was 2 years ago at Connection 2018 when Elif Totuk found the perfect naming for the Qlik engine, the Beast. I fully agree with her and cannot find a better description to this powerful all-rounder beast. You have this massive associative engine with all the known green, white, gray logic. Also, you can explore your data without any boundaries, means you have no static hierarchies in your Qlik Sense application or in your data model, and you will not run into any SQL limitations like you know it from native SQL. What's also very important is that you have the in-memory database with real-time analytics, and additionally you can scale and deploy Qlik as complex as you want to. Means doing just one click on another selection or doing one selection, you get your results in real time because everything is pointed in the memory database of Qlik. And also don't forget the free choice of data sources. So, but as soon as you run into issues or missing features, you have this massive backbone of this Qlik community and Qlik branch where you will always find answers to your problems. And regarding today's topic, with all of those Qlik open source APIs, you can customize Qlik completely limitless. To summarize this up, Qlik is the perfect BI tool to connect any kind of data source, right? So there are no limits of data source types or the number of data sources. You can easily connect an SAP system with an Oracle database, load additional data from Microsoft SQL Server, add some text files or Excel files, and additionally a REST connection in just one application. At the end, you have your single point of truth showing your validated figures in the Qlik Sense dashboard, like the real number of employees, the real number of customers, your total costs of the whole company, and all the numbers behind are collected from a mass of different data sources loaded into Qlik and showing the value just in one dashboard. But to explain this in a very technical way, this is only a one-way street operating with data. So you're just loading data from your sources into Qlik, and by default there's no way back from Qlik back to sources. But with Qlik's APIs, you can now turn the best BI tool into an UI platform. And this I want to explain, or I now want to explain our sorts of the UI platforms on an example which started with a simple customer's requirement and turned to an enterprise product. Because with the ultimative power of click and write, you have the possibilities to not just read the data, but you can edit them, add new data directly in Qlik, or do financial planning and write them back to any data source. So there's no further need to leave Qlik anymore and open any third-party tool like Excel, SAP, your CRM system or so. You can do all your business in just one platform, which is Qlik. And the customer's requirement was 5 years ago from our customer HBPO. They are producing front-end parts for cars. They said, okay, we are looking for a new project management tool, but we also want to have a new BI solution. And they saw in the past they were talking about Qlik View, not Qlik Sense, and they said, okay, Qlik View is the perfect BI tool for us, but we don't see any commenting capabilities. We don't see any write-back capabilities. We are searching for one BI tool where we can also do our project management. Then we said, hey, we have this Qlik expertise, we have internal software development know-how, let's take the Qlik APIs and develop this write-back solution. And this was the prototype, or the first customer requirement I've been talking about, which is now a fully product, which I would like to introduce you now and explain you roughly how this has been set up with the capabilities of Qlik and their APIs and the whole community behind. So let me first of all introduce you into Write, where our slogan is to edit and plan directly in Qlik. The easiest requirement, or the most requested requirement, is commenting data, as I said before. So we give you the capabilities to build your own tables, which you will see in a couple of seconds, to define some fields like dimensions and KPIs and then make them editable. So you can define, okay, I want now to have a comment, which is a free text field. Then I want to have some checkboxes to implement some approval processes or workflows. And what's most important is that this is enterprise ready, means we are fully secure. We know how to handle with customers and customers' requirements. We know how to handle huge amounts of users, like hundreds or thousands of users at the same time, and write the data back to any kind of database. And this gives you the possibility to directly interact with data in Qlik and not leaving it. Because in the past, you just read your data in Qlik and you saw an error, and then what have you done? You moved back to your SAP system, to your Excel file. You had to look for your data where you saw an error and fix it directly in the source system. And this is now history. You can do this now directly in Qlik and edit your data there. And what's also very important, that we are not just talking about simple editing or simple commenting. We are also talking about effective planning, right? And with planning, we are, of course, also specialized in financial planning, like a personal planning, a sales planning, cost center planning or so. But with planning, we also are talking about approval workflows. And just to give you a rough overview how this looks like, I'd like to switch now to a demo and yeah, just give you a rough overview how this all works, and then explain you on a kind of technical level how the communication is there behind and what kind of APIs are working there. So now you can see this Qlik Sense application here. And what you see is that this is a simple dashboard, so showing some data coming from the Qlik data model, where you have some selection boxes here, some filters, you have some KPIs, and this here is our write edit table. And write edit table means that this table operates like kind of a native Qlik table, where you're also talking about dimensions and measurements. And first of all, it's showing you data coming from the Qlik engine itself. So this is the first point I want to explain you today. You have this massive Qlik APIs, and the easiest or the first step you will work with the Qlik APIs, if you haven't yet, is loading data from the Qlik engine and showing it in your extension. Could be a really easy extension like a table extension or a KPI extension, and then it's up to you to find your own way defining your products or solutions implementing directly in Qlik. Because what was what was missing in Qlik so far was changing just data. And in this extension, we are not just showing your data, so it's not just a read extension, it's also a write extension, as the name says itself. So here I can click into any kind of cell and just start changing the numbers here. So let's say the sales forecast in this example is not 5,000, it's 4 million. Click on enter, and as you see, I have now just changed the data set, and this orange triangle shows me, okay, you have changed the cell but not saved it yet. And as soon as I click on the save button here in the left upper corner, we get this message that the data has now been written back to the database, a reload is triggered, and right after you see the impacts of the new changed data directly in your Qlik data model. And this was a complex process, or is a complex process if you do not have this write solution in your QlikSense environment, because what we do now is writing the data directly back to the source system. And if you want to, you can write to in a separate database, but you can also directly overwrite the data in the source system if you want to, and if this is your requirement. And it's not just in clicking into a cell and changing a free text box, it's also about having ratings, like here with the star rating. You can also make use of drop-down lists. For example, here you can change an article, and in this case you want to have a predefined list of values. So here I'm searching for a new shirt, and by the way, all those articles here are also coming from the Qlik data model, so it's all connected to the Qlik data model. You have no additional data modeling required. This is all set up on an existing or previous existing Qlik application. Also, you have calendar input fields where you can just change a date, or you can just click the plus button here to create even a new record directly in Qlik. And if you say, okay, let's wait, this entries doesn't make sense, just click on the X button, everything is cleared. But what you can also do is, let's assume that a customer gives us a call and says, okay, now I want to change all of my articles. I want to have for all of my orders the article ballet shoes. Then you can just make use of this global input or bulk input here. Just say, okay, article ballet shoes, and with just one click you have overwritten all data regarding your selection, clicking on the save button. And as you can see, we have done 33 changes with just 2 clicks here. And you could say, okay, I have this requirement that I do not just want to overwrite data, I also want to have a historization of my data. That's also not a problem, because with the Qlik APIs we then implemented a logic where we can historize all single changes. And let me select exactly one data set like this one. So now we have exactly one order number item number combination, and what you can see here is that we have this history timestamp. So this is the place where we can see when a change has been made, then what's the current version of this change, by whom has it been changed, and also what did change. So as you can see here, first of all we implemented a date or added a date, then we changed the customer, change the amount of this order status, and so on. So this gives you the full capability of having audits of your change data, also again directly in Qlik, not leaving it to any third-party tool or viewing it in a database. next to it, we also have this write form application, because then we said, okay, now we have the need not to operate on a mass of data. We now just want to operate on one single data set. Let's assume that we have a CRM functionality where we want to say, okay, I'm always on exactly one customer, and I don't want to have the information of this customer in one line. I want to have a much prettier view, like this write form extension here to the right, which is very similar to the write edit extension, has the same edit modes like checkboxes, drop-down lists, numerical input fields, and also calculations. Like you can see here, here's the average price per unit calculated, and you could say, okay, nothing special. It's daily business of Qlik. Yes, it is, but we can do it live without waiting for the reload. So if I change the quantity from 10 to 15, for example, we immediately see that the average price per unit has changed. And what's really cool here, back again to the API. So you have in Qlik, if you start working with extension development, you probably will start with the capability APIs, which are divided into several sub APIs like global API, root API, app API, extension API, and all those APIs are needed to create such extensions. And in those extensions, you can then also make use of additional data in Qlik. For example, here on the right side, you cannot change any date right now because we said, okay, we have this conditional edit mode, and this conditional edit mode is then handled by Qlik formulas. So here in the background is implemented a formula which says if the date is in the future, then it should be, this field should be editable. If it's in the past, it's not editable. And as you can see, it's still editable here on the left side because there it's not activated. And if I change this date now to a future date, click on save, we can then see that this date is then editable on the right side in the write form extension again. Okay, now we haven't defined this here, but what I want to show you just is alright, so I just quickly fixed this demo. So as you can see, now I'm able to change the date again, because now I've implemented the logic again, where the date is only editable if it's in the future. And if I switch this back to a date in the past, like the 1st June of 2020, click on save. Now we save the data to a database, reload the Qlik data model, and right after we can then evaluate the new changed value. And as you can see, now it's not editable anymore, and now I can only edit it on the right side. If I change it again to a date in the future, then the Qlik formula is evaluated again, and so it's possible to edit on this calendar field again. And what I just want to show you here is that you can embed any kind of logic there to define some vectors where you define, okay, user group A is allowed to add a comment but not to change the article, but user group B, which is the management, for example, is then allowed to change any kind of cell here. And this is just talking about data editing, which is kind of easy, but if you are talking about complex financial planning, I'd like to show you now in this next application, it becomes more complex, and this is why we then chose to develop another extension which is called write plan. And just to give you a rough overview of this application, which is called write financial planning, here you have some KPIs again about your actual data. So there is already an existing Qlik Sense application where you have your actual turnover, your actual quantity, which is then divided into some KPIs here, and you have your actual profit margin. And in this example, we have a data set where we are a liquor producing company. So now we want to make some quantity planning, margin planning, and at the end of the day, we want to have some approval processes and some profit and loss evaluations or analytics. So in the second sheet, we see this quantity planning, and this here is the write plan extension, which is not built like a native Qlik table or like a sum table as you might know it. This is more built like a pivot table. And here again, we're just asking Qlik for a hypercube and to not just give us a straight structure of table, we now want to have a pivot structure from the API, and that's not a problem. It's just changing one parameter in the hypercube definition, and then you get all the data in the structure you need. So here on the left side we have some dimensions as you know it from native pivot tables, where we have on the first dimension the totals, then followed by our stores and followed by all of our products, and in the top we have then the timelines where we have divided into years and months in this case. And this is the sheet where you can just click into any kind of cell. Now I have selected the plan ID budget, and here you can just click into any kind of cell and change values here. As you can see, the amount of all those fields here on the third layer are then the sum of the store, and the amount of all stores is then the sum of the totals. And if I change this 50 to 150, click on enter, we see that 300 has increased to 400, which was a simple bottom-up bottom-up figure. And you can also do some top-down analysis. If you say I want to change this 2040 now to 5000, just enter 5000. And regarding the distribution ratios we've had before on the lower levels, we then recalculate every single cell in here. But you can also do, I call it the CEO cell, where you can just say, okay, I do not want to have 600,000 in total in 2020. I want to have 3 million. Click on enter, and then you have recalculated every single cell here regarding the distribution ratio you have defined before. What's also possible here, I cancel my entrances, is say, okay, I'd like to have the budget, a plan ID budget from the year 2020, and now I'd like to create a new budget. Say next year I want to have 10% up, 100%, budget 2 for the year 2021, click on OK, and now you have just created a new budget on the fly where we went from 600 to 660,000 euros. On the next sheet you have then the possibility to do a margin planning besides the quantity planning. And here you have this hierarchy of a P&L structure. So you have those KPIs like turnover, cost of goods sold, and so. And this can all be expanded to, again, the store levels and then the product levels, where you can do your margin planning. And in the next sheet, which is really cool here, is an approval process implemented, where you can now review your entered figures. So, for example, here you can see again our right edit table. Here you have some columns like plan, product, and year, and then you see your KPIs like net result, turnover, and so on. And then you can just say, okay, now I have reviewed this line. Click on save and maybe add a comment. Reviewed. Click on save, and now we are sending this reviewed data to our approver, which could be in the same application or also in a second application. As you can see, here's now our second line where the approver can now say, okay, this is approved and this is declined, and when I click on save, the first one will be added to those KPIs here. The second one will then appear in the reviewer view. Yeah, and that's a result where you can just use the full power of Qlik itself, and in combination with Write you can implement any kind of workflow or approval process you are looking for and do whatever you want to, because what we do, we give you the opportunity to change a 0 to a 1, and regarding your requirements it's then up to you to define what happens, right? At the end, we then implemented, as you know it as a controller, or you want to have it as a controller, this profit and loss structure, where you can then see for every store your results on the different P&L levels here, and you also have this waterfall diagram showing you how the net result is created due to your figures. And again, this has also been implemented by our customer Lufthansa, which is the biggest German airline. And before they did their cost center planning in SAP, and this was a huge process and a pain process for them, and then they switch to Qlik and Write, and they do all their financial planning or their cost center planning directly in Qlik with Write, and save a lot of time and made their processes much smarter. They're very happy with this solution, with our solution, and thanks to Qlik and Qlik's APIs, this has only been created by their open source APIs. As you all know, we currently have this conflict with Corona, with the current COVID situation. So we had some calls from hospitals where they said, okay, we need to react real quick and do some patient admissions, and we have to manage our hospital. We already have our data directly in Qlik, but we cannot simply create a new ward or station where we can just occupy some beds of new Corona patients. So we created this simple COVID hospital management application where you see this simple dashboards with the number of free beds, beds occupied, number of patients, and so. And here you have 4 sheets. The dashboard, patient admission, patient management, and station and bed management. Let's start with the last sheet, station and bed management, because here again you have the capability with the Qlik APIs to create even new records in Qlik that Qlik doesn't know yet, but with Write you will tell Qlik then that there are new records. So just click on the plus button, enter a new word, give it a bed capacity, add a comment. And right after you did so let's say we have a new ward or station, Qlik world with the capacity of 10 beds, click on save. We will then see in the patient admissions sheet that there will be a new ward which is called Qlik world right here, and this ward is now free to be occupied for 10 patients. So what we've done now, we said, okay, let's create a new ward with 10 beds, and with the Qlik data model we then create those 10 beds, and here you can see those 10 beds, and let's say, okay, we have now a new patient admission, and this patient should be occupied in bed 1, so let's select this bed and say the assumed days of bed occupancy are 21 days, click on save, and yeah, it's easy like that. Now we have occupied this new this bed. We've created a new unique patient ID, which is really unique, and then we automatically occupied this new bed. As you can see, it turned red now, and it means it's now occupied. And if we take a look again to the station or ward Qlik world, we see that we only have 9 free beds now. What you can also do is do some patient management, like here, just select one unique patient ID, and then you see all the details of this patient and all the history of this patient. So there has been a patient's activity of 6, means that the days of occupancy has been changed from 7 to 20 and so on. So here you have this full historization. You can see from which bed the patient has moved, and this also gives you the opportunity to define some COVID tracing chains right after. Alright, last but not least is the section access management with Write I want to show you right now. So we have 2 applications. On the left side we can see the Write plan application again, where you see that we have some data we can operate on. And here we have another hierarchy on 4 layers. The top hierarchy is our company, followed by region, sales rep, and customers. And as you can see, I am currently only allowed to view the data of 4 customers and also just to change the data of 4 customers. And this is all handled by section access. And section access is a well-known feature in Qlik, which is handled either in inline scripts or in dusty Excel files. But what you can do now on the right side with our Write Edit extension and Write Form extension again is just selecting exactly one username, like Tigor. Say now you only want to see enabled rules, and as you can see here are 2 rules currently available for my user, that I am allowed to see the data of West Becker and all the customers, and also on East, Müller and all the customers. So that's the result on the left side. But now I want to give a new section access rule to my user where I say I want to have the reduction on region north, and there I want to see all the data. So here we have this wildcard entries. Clicking on save, and what's most important here, again back to the APIs, we clicked on save and then we triggered a task chain. So we said as soon as there is a save event from this application, please reload the first application here and right after the second application on the left side. And this gives you the opportunity to have auto deploy scenarios like here. I've just created a new section access rule on the right side, which could be done by an administrator, and on the left side I'm logged in with my own user, and there I want to have the new rules immediately and not just tomorrow when an automated task runs. I want to have it now, and this is all done by Qlik and write. So here we are communicating with the Qlik repository service and the Qlik engine API, where we then trigger some existing tasks from the QMC, because with the APIs you have then the possibilities to read all the data that are stored in Qlik, or some the meta information that are generated or created in the QMC can then be read via the repository service and be used for any kind of functionality you want to have there. By the way, if you're interested in those solutions, you see the email here and our web address. Do not hesitate to contact us directly and get a free trial, and also the applications I have shown you today can also be used for free by yourself. Alright, so enough of the live demo. Let's jump back to the presentation. This was the wrong slide. Here we go. Okay, to summarize this up, customers like Siemens, Lufthansa, Otis or Chubb already trust in our solutions and are permanently turning Qlik into their unique UI platform. They saw the massive potential of Qlik and write and took their decisions to move from the third-party tools like SAP or the CRM system directly to Qlik. This saves them a lot of time and money and makes their internal processes a lot easier and smarter. And just to give you a few additional slides, here we have again some comments and ratings where we do comments on the combinations of customer and sales rep. Then we have this additional KPI where we can compare the sales current year with last year, give it a rating, give it approval status with our traffic lights, add some comments with this unique emojis for Elvis here. And this just shows you some additional capabilities. In the next slide we have a rough overview about CRM activity tracking. Like we already use it internally. We have this write CRM created just with Qlik and write, and we do not use any additional CRM because we know how to build CRMs, we know how to build the logics. And what's really cool here, if you're really familiar with Qlik and a smart Qlik developer, you know how to implement any kind of workflow and yeah, just define your CRM regarding your needs for a lot less of costs than you have within a big CRM system, right? Yeah, here another screenshot of financial or quantity planning. Again, where you see that we have this dimensions hierarchy here, we have the timeline here, and then some buttons for new budgets and new forecasts. And the new forecast button has also been developed together with Lufthansa, where you have the capability to create new forecasts that are created based on actuals mixed with budgets, where you can fix your budget for new scenarios. And so yeah, what I haven't shown you yet is our write Gantt extension, which is released, and this gives you the possibility to not just view data in a Gantt chart, but you can also edit and change the data directly in a Gantt chart, because we are not just painting some nice charts. we make them editable, right? So this is our expertise, that we can edit data, we can change data and write them back to a database, and we not just build nicely viewing charts in here. So as you can see here, we have some projects, and each project can have some sub-projects or be divided into tasks, and we are also talking about milestones like here, and all tasks and projects and milestones can be linked together. Means as soon as office facing like here has been finished, we have to continue with furniture installation, but this gives also the possibility to even create new tasks or milestones directly in Qlik. Again, write them back to any kind of data source, which could be Postgre, Microsoft SQL, Azure database, Oracle database, MariaDB, or could be any REST connection where you can really connect to every data source, even directly to your source system. And what's your outlook now on the next level with Qlik? I think it's turning BI into UI on your system, right? Because all of you have now seen what we have natively implemented with Qlik's APIs. And first of all, you can use any APIs to build your very own extensions. Doesn't matter which requirement. Displaying data, moving to sheets with a button click, creating hypercubes for getting some data, creating new apps, sheets or bookmarks on demand. This can all easily be done with the capability APIs. But you can also connect directly to the Qlik repository service, as I said before, to get a list of all master items, for example, all bookmarks, all data that has been created in QMC are stored into a repository database. And doesn't matter where you need those data or those information, you can get them from Qlik and use them anywhere. You can also connect your own software product to Qlik. And this can, for example, easily be done using Enigma.js for getting some data and showing them in your own software then. All you need for making your application, solving your problems, can easily be done with Qlik's APIs. What are some other use cases? As I said, we have this approvals and workflows and financial planning. Then we implemented the project planning solution, which is called Write Gantt. But there are also solutions like process mining, which has been implemented by Mehrwerk, which is a company here in Germany and also our partner. Then we have all heard about the deal with Qlik's ping alerting, but you can also make use of data validation or mashup integration, for example, here. And now you probably ask, but how? And here are some links I want to provide to you, how I started becoming a Qlik Sense API or extension developer. First of all, if you want to have an overview about TED certified extensions, TED means Trusted Extension Developer, and by the way, all of our extensions are also TED certified. You can just visit the website developer.qlik.com, which is the website of Qlik branch, and there you will also find the TED program. Another process is if you want to have some open source extensions which are not certified by Qlik, then you can just take a look to the garden on Qlik branch. But if you want to start building your own extensions, just make sure to visit developer.qlik.com again and take a look to the knowledge sections, where you will find some tutorials and some useful videos. But what's also really important is help.qlik.com, where you will find the official API documentations. And as I said, if you want to have some feedback, not from just machines, but also from people, make sure to join Qlik branch on Slack, which is a huge Slack community. I think there are meanwhile more than 3,500 or 4,000 Qlik developers on Qlik branch on Slack, and also there's the Qlik community. But the required skills you definitely should bring as an extension developer are, first of all, Qlik know-how. So how does Qlik work? How does the green, white, gray logic works? And what is Qlik? Then you should have some programming skills. The best would be in having programming skills in web development. For front-end development, you should know how to handle or to connect with APIs, but you can also find additional information how to get started on help.qlik.com. And of course, you should also show enthusiasm to reach your goals, right? Have a smart idea and reach this idea with your skills. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my session, and sorry for the short interruption where I had to fix this Qlik formula again. But I just showed you that it works and explained to you how it works, and I also gave you some insights into the APIs. If you don't find your solutions or the things you're looking for on the website I've shown you before, do not hesitate to write an email to me directly. And if you're interested into our product, please just visit our website or just write a short email to info@write.bi, and there our customer and partner manager will definitely provide you with free trials and licenses, and if you're interested, also with a pricing list. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this session. It's really sad that we hadn't had the possibility to meet in person this year, so I hope that we will have the opportunity to meet in person next year on next Qlik World. Please stay safe, and yeah, have a great day.